Guys, the thing I've been thinking about so much right now is people who can't keep their word. You know, like when somebody says something that's not true or doesn't follow through on something they said they're going to do, then you could never believe them. And you can ask them questions and get them to tell you more, but nobody has more supporting arguments and explanations than a person who's lying. And so the more questions you ask, the more lies you're going to get back. You already know they tell lies to benefit themselves, or they don't hold themselves to a standard that the things that they say have to be executed on. Like, I'm going to do ABC action. And then, of course, ABC doesn't happen. And then, the next time you talk to them on the phone and you say, hey, I need you to do XYZ. Can you do it? You already know it's not going to get done. If it does get done, it's like a fluke. And society and, all the good things that we have is not built on things happening maybe. It's based on things that are definitely going to happen. This is why, I just think this is why society has really gone a very bad way. It feels like collapse. I've heard that that's societal collapse, but people, they don't have stake in their own reputation anymore. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, why don't they? Why don't they care that their record, their history, and their reputation is ruined with someone? And I really think it's the illusion that there's always another person that you can go to. Like, the world is, in a way, smaller because people can get online and see someone from another state or another country even, or even just people all around their whole local area. And so they can go through like 3 or 4 people that they will, screw over, tell lies, ruin their reputation with those people. 3, 4, 5, 10 people a year. And they can do that every single year, their whole life, and still encounter new people that don't hold their reputation in the same way as they've been making it all this time. And so it's this illusion that you can remake yourself and be seen as something, better than what you truly are, just for a short time until people really discover it. But I think failure to execute is one of the greatest vices in the world today. And I really hope to hear more people talking about failure to execute, because, in the Bible, when people in like Baptist Christianity believe that the Bible is the explicit word of God. And so, not everybody has the same ideas around that stuff, but the concept is still true. The word of God, which is that somebody said something, I believe it's God. God said it, and he's going to do it even if it's later on and it's inconvenient. And I just feel like most people don't have a concept that when they say they're going to do something, that they're going to actually go out of their way to make sure that their word holds and that their word has meaning. And maybe it's one of those where sometimes, you learn about yourself. You're not able to do everything you said you're going to do. But I think you owe a big apology when you do that. It's a moral thing. It's part of telling the truth. It's like if I said, I promise to be faithful and true to you my whole life until death do us part, and then I cheat on my wife. It's not honest. It's a lie. So why would it be any different when you say, I'll be there at 7, or, yeah, I'm definitely going to help you with your car. Don't worry. I'm going to come help you this week. I'm going to help you. No call, no answer, right? And then no apology. So no recognition that there was a breach committed, basically. And this is a systemic worldwide problem. I mean, I deal with these companies. You call and you're asking them, can you look at this paper? Can you file this document? Whatever the parties might be, like whether it's medical office, the VA, any sort of business. You call them and they're like, well, he's not in right now, but I'll leave a message on his desk and he'll call you back. He doesn't call you back. Or they say, if he doesn't call you back, I will. Those promises are not going to be kept. And I don't really think it's because people are getting moved around. It's because people, if you write something down, like, where it's written down at, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, oh, there's a list of people that I'm definitely going to do what I promised I would do, and then everybody else I'm not. And that attitude right there is a horrible, horrible thing for humanity, because the idea that I'm only going to love or care about or do right by people who have the ability to hurt me, basically. People that have access to me, people that can punish me. If everything that you do, right or wrong, is based upon the possibility of a punishment, then, what good even are you? You know what I mean? Like, you're only going to do right if somebody's got a hammer over your head, and so now all of society has to have a hammer over our head all the time to be expected to do the right thing. It makes more sense to just have the society hammer sort of perched above everyone. So if anybody has a breach of conduct, they know that other people will step up and hold them accountable. And yeah, accountability is at an all-time low. I think it's partly because of family bond being so weak right now. I think people who have strong family bonds aren't as much this way, but I've watched people's lives. I mean, I see how they go. People who don't execute, they failure to execute, those people have a very hard road. And life is hard on all of us, but those people make their road especially hard because you reap what you sow. It's karma. It's when you lay bad things down, you have to walk on them later. And that's really the gist of it. In a nutshell, if you're not keeping your word, then you ain't worth much. And sadly, like I keep saying all around when I talk to people about the state of the world and the state of affairs, the general quality of human race has gone down drastically. And it's been happening in my lifetime, but it was bad even when I was young. Even when I was a child, it was happening. I remember my mom used to tell me about kids who watch too much TV. They don't develop their brain properly. And now we got social media addiction, and I struggle with it. It's in my pocket, so it's really easy to have an addiction to that. And now social media, everybody's saying, oh, it's really bad, it's hurting our brains, it's hurting our kids, constant Instagram posts and Snapchats or whatever, TikToks or whatever, and going from thing to thing, becoming very distracted and only being focused on temporal things instead of the things that last, and I think that's really almost, it's a sign of our times, I guess. But I want to transition off this into a slightly different topic. I don't know if these things fit together, so maybe I'll split it. But the other one I was thinking about was, I guess it was in the long frame, I was thinking about how when people don't do things themselves, when people want other people to do something for them, I feel like it creates a short frame, a very, very short frame of thinking. For example, my house. I bought my house, and you can see the residual marks of short frame thinking in anything that you deal with or look at. You'll know if someone was thinking for long term, they do a nicer job on stuff. They do better work. And, workmen now, it's very common for them to be focused on the short frame, which is that I just want to get the money from this job. Even to the point where they might not even care if that person is happy as long as they get their money. And they won't get any references or referrals from that customer because they have such a short frame thinking. They're like, that's okay, somebody else will call me. And I've always thought, my reputation was very important to me. And at first I really thought it was because of the money. Because, if you don't have a good reputation, people won't refer you and they won't want to call you. But this attitude, I'm going to trick the next person, I'm going to trick the next person. I'm going to fast talk somebody into hiring me or doing business with me. Instead of leading with your reputation and having people know you and say your name, oh, your name is a good name. They say when you're dealing with one of them, you're dealing with an honest person. You're dealing with a hardworking person who does the right thing. They make right if they make a mistake. And I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that the short frame thinking is let me see if I can get other people to just do what I want. Let me see if I can just get I want out of it. And in the house I live in, there's a lot of bad workmanship or incomplete things that were never done in my home. And it's short-term thinking, and yet people live there for many years. But my long-term thinking is that if I learn lots of skills, then I can pass those skills on to my kids. Because one thing that I was very lacking in my lifetime was the ability to have somebody, basically the ability to get somebody to teach me skills. And I think that my children will be a lot like me in that regard. And so therefore they're going to have to learn a lot of those things from me. And it's very helpful if I can rack up a good, couple decades worth of experience on things. So that way when my kids are a little bit older, they can refer to me as a resource and say, hey, Dad knows a lot. Dad will help us. Dad will teach me how to do this. Dad will help me. And maybe it's just how it is when you have kids, when you think about their future or whatever, but I don't believe in just cutting your kids loose. That idea that your kids are just on their own after they grow up 18 years old and they're gone, that's not a normal thing. The human species has never been able to go on that way. There's always been protection, mentorship, leadership, guidance, and aid that happens through the parent. And so I want my kids to have that long-term scope that I already was preparing for them. I don't think I can prep a long-term scope where I'm going to pay for their college. That doesn't seem possible, and I don't think I really want that to be possible anyway, because college is a disaster. Most people who go there never use the career that they trained on, and they still have no knowledge of the career that they're going into a lot of the time. Trade school is a good bet. But the kids, I want them to go out with real skills. Book learning is good. Book learning is fine. But the real skills that makes society go around is a mixture. There's definitely book learning, the ability to read, the ability to absorb knowledge and learn something. But morality and character almost surpasses, knowledge, because when you can have knowledge but without character, you won't apply it. So I think knowledge is wasted on those who have no character. So that's why I say lead with character. Lead with your reputation. Keep your word. Do the right thing. Hold yourself accountable. Do the right thing even when no one else is looking. And the outcome is that you have a long-term benefit to yourself and to society. People are feeling very unsafe right now. Anytime you deal with someone, they're always afraid that you're going to turn on them. If things don't go well, that you're going to become their nightmare. And that's terrible. Imagine a world where anybody that you see or deal with could become a big problem for you. And I feel, in many cases, like the people I'm dealing with are a small problem for me. They really, a lot of people stand in the way of my success. And they come every day. Always some person who doesn't want to fulfill a simple task that's really their job. Like, I call the company where they work and their goal is to not help me versus just helping me and having me out of the store. Why would your goal be not to help somebody, or why would your goal be to just make someone go away instead of actually creating the benefit that's needed? There's a net societal cost to these interactions, because every little interaction that costs somebody added time or frustration is one more that's going to transfer. A lot of these things transfer onto other people. That transfers to the wife or the next person they talk to, or transfers to their other relationships. And so then that person comes in, and then you have places where people always come in that are frustrated. And wherever they were at last, or whatever problem they're dealing with, is the reason why they're frustrated. And so they're coming, and now someone is getting the brunt of it, like the DMV. If you've ever been the DMV and you notice those people are always in a bad mood. But you got to think, like, who has to go to the DMV? It's the bottom crust. Everybody has to go there sometimes, but people who really have money, they don't have to go as much. You're dealing with the poor, basically. The DMV is loaded with the poor. And that's why those people are so frustrated, because when you're poor, you're frustrated, and then they bring their frustration and pass it on to the people at DMV. And so when you go to see the DMV lady, you could smile and be nice to her, and she will not even look up at you. If she does, she's not smiling. And because they're just fed up. They're fed up all the way up to the top. And a society full of fed up people is not healthy. And that's what we're dealing with right now. We have a failure to share a common morality. A common morality would help us a lot. A shared idea of what's right and wrong. But, I'm trying to stockpile knowledge for my kids. I don't know how that's linked together, but I feel like it is. I want the kids to be able to take on anything that I can take on in my life. I want it to be double easy for them, because then they can actually go on and do bigger things and touch the world in a different way that I might not be able to. And, that's my hope. Anyway, guys, I hope this video finds you well. I hope you guys enjoy the grinding, if that's what I'm showing here. Have a great day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.